And if you look at the recipe at all, that's going to cook for just about a minute. And I prepped some of this stuff, but I love the way I do garlic. So I had to show one garlic because I like to do this.
That's what I do.
It's like my favorite way. I know there's a lot of different ways to do garlic, but so, and this is, I have to say, I feel pretty spoiled because we used to actually smells amazing. Okay, so there's the garlic. And then I pre-did the ginger, but I don't know, sometimes ginger baffles people in terms of what to do. I either use a peeler, but I usually don't. I usually use a spoon. I don't know, I find it kind of meditative. I just kind of go down the ginger like that. So let me measure out. It says 1.5 tablespoons. I really like ginger, so I might do a little bit more. A little bit extra. Okay, so I'm going to add this into the pot and cook it for about a minute. Yeah, it's funny. We had some unexpected guests yesterday. Tom's partner in one of his startup businesses and his girlfriend, who I've never met. Tom's met her, and I just love Tony. Anyway, this morning they were leaving early to go to Seattle, and Tony asked if I had any jokes. I was like, no, I don't know. Do I have to start off with a joke? So then Samantha was leaving and she's like, crack an egg. I was like, okay, guys, you're putting pressure on me. But anyway, so this has been about a minute. And I'm going to add the broth, just a good organic, low sodium vegetable broth. And the reason I'm doing this ahead of time before we get to the headliner is because it takes a little bit of time for the vegetables to get soft. So I got the broth, and now we're going to do the carrots. Let me get this ginger out of the way. Rinse it off. I sort of pre-prepped some of this already, but I left a little bit just to do some chopping. It's very, it's so easy because it doesn't really matter like how big they are. You don't want to make them too big because you want them to get soft without it taking too terribly long. But anyway, so there are the carrots, and I've got half a medium sweet potato, which I'm going to also chop into just roughly bite-sized pieces. And this is what takes just a little tiny bit of time. We're going to let that come to a boil. Okay.
Ellie, do you have to peel the sweet potato, or can you just leave it unpeeled and scrubbed?
I like to peel them when I'm doing a soup because I feel like the color could be a little weird. But otherwise, like when I roast sweet potatoes, I don't ever peel them. I mean, I love eating the skin, but in a soup, I feel like it's a little, I'd rather peel them. I feel like it's more pure and beautiful. Okay, so I'm gonna add the spices too, which are right here. And then I'm gonna raise it. So there's turmeric, which is a spice that I really love. I mean, I liked it even before it became popular for its antioxidant qualities, and it, became like sort of like kale did become popular, and then it was turmeric, and there's always something. Okay, so it's half a teaspoon. I had the wrong thing there. And there's 1¼ teaspoons of kosher salt. So that, and we'll do a little pepper and just get that going. much pepper as you like. Okay, I'm gonna heat up a little, bring it to a boil. So this is what it looks like. It's gonna be beautiful. All right. Okay, so well, that was easy. To beat. So what is it? It's basically it's tradition. It is basically it's chicken stuffed with rice and spices, buried in more rice and spices. And some of the beauties of it is that it was traditionally cooked overnight so that people could adhere to the Jewish law of not lighting fire on Shabbat. And so it's very long cooking. It most often people would put eggs on top after they have the chicken and the rice and everything, and then the eggs would cook also and turn this amazing brown color. And they would have the eggs for breakfast along with, and I don't know about you, but my mouth is watering just thinking of this. So they would have it with like fried eggplant, Israeli salad, like a cucumber tomato salad, tahini sauce, and whatever else. And when I was growing up, my mom didn't put the eggs in the tabit, but she did make what we always called, and to this day we call Shabbat eggs. So if you just cook eggs, like when you're hard boiling eggs, if you just do it for a really long time. I know some people use onion skins to color the outside of the egg. My mom never did that, but she just cooked them a really long time on a low simmer, and they turn like brown. The part that's the white part of the egg turns brown, and it's just so delicious. And we used to have that. That wasn't what we had for breakfast, but we had that as part of our Shabbat lunch. And when I was growing up, the tabit was Friday night dinner. It wasn't Saturday lunch, but it was very traditional. And the smell is like no other smell. I mean, honestly, there's nothing else. It's kind of like the way a brisket takes over the whole house. This kind of does too, but it doesn't smell the same at all. So I thought this was incredible. So I don't know if you can see this, but I did a little bit of research. It says the Iraqi Shabbat recipe that disappeared for years and finally returned. It's on jewishfoodsociety.org, I guess. And I read this 2 paragraphs, and I was like, oh my God, like this is my mom's story, like right here. So I'm going to read it because it's incredible. I'm going to use this person's name, but also this picture of the woman here is almost like this, it's like a black and white photo I have of my mom, where my mom kind of looked a little bit like a movie star, like this lady does. But anyway, so it says, Jeanette Sheena's childhood, so it's like my mom, Blanche's childhood, was one of contrasts. In the late 1940s, her family was well off, living in a large 4-story home in Baghdad with her parents. And my mom lived with her grandparents also, but same thing, like this large, amazing sort of mansion type place that my mom had such fond memories of. She talked about her childhood home a lot. And it says, while she attended private school during the day, my mom did the same. She went to a school, Alliance Française. It was a private school. Her father, this woman's father, worked as a butter and cheese wholesaler. My mom's father was a textile merchant. And then her mother stayed home, as my mom's did. And they talk here about the servants that the woman, it says that along with a servant, this woman's mom prepared traditional Iraq recipes. My mom, yeah, I mean, they had a lot of servants. It's just the way things were when she was growing up. And she loved them. She looked forward to hanging around and watching them do things. And then it talks about the early 50s, or before the early 50s for my mom's family anyway, when the atmosphere completely shifted in Iraq and there were bombings and Jews were targets. And then this part, my mom talked about a lot too. It says, dressed in their best clothes, but without any of their belongings, her family moved to Israel. Exactly what my mom talked about. In fact, she said that she had as much on as she could wear. And there was this favorite red belt that she had that she told me, I remember she told me many times, it turned everything pink because it was hot and she was sweating and, you know, whatever. And then the article finishes by just saying that when this person got married when she was young, to beet came back into her life and became a tradition. So it was really striking. What else did I want to say about to beet? So it serves a lot of people, which is nice. That's convenient. Also, it's very forgiving. The spice blend it's called Baharat, and it has certain spices that are very common and traditional for people to use, but it's kind of like a garam masala for like Indian food or Mexican salsa or Spanish paella. I mean, households come up with their own version of the spice mix. And so in that way, the recipe, I mean, it is forgiving. And what did I want to say? So yeah, so the staples, the ones that spices you'll find in there almost all the time are black pepper, cinnamon, cloves, allspice, what else? Coriander. And then sometimes like rose petals, cardamom, saffron, things like that. So very warm, amazing spices, actually. And also maybe paprika sometimes. So I'm almost ready to cook, but I wanted to say something about the rice. My mom always used Uncle Ben's, and that is just the way that I still do it. And, you know, all this stuff about, I'm not going to get political, but I really liked Aunt Jemima, and I like the picture of Aunt Jemima, and I really like Uncle Ben, and I really like the picture of Uncle Ben. And it wouldn't be the same if his picture wasn't on there, but just saying. Okay. Sorry if I offended anybody. That's how I feel. I'm tradition, and especially to do with cooking, just means a lot to me. Okay, so I think that I covered some of the most important stuff. The last thing I have to mention is a very prized thing is it takes a lot of practice and people jockey for it. But if you can get that bottom crispy crust, then it's like really special. Not everybody loves it, but my dad, it was one of his favorite things in the world. If you could get the rice on the bottom to be sort of similar to what you've seen, like I'm sure with Persian rice, but this dish having cooked for such a long time, that crispy stuff on the bottom is just different. And it's not for everyone, but I mean, I love it too. So, all right, we're gonna get started. Now this has come to a boil. So I'm gonna turn it down, give it a little stir. And I'm actually my trusty timer. I don't know what I would do without a timer in the kitchen. I mean, I could look at a clock, but it wouldn't be as easy. Okay, so yeah, let's get started. I've got this pot, which is exactly like the pot my mom used. It's not her pot, but anyway. And I have the chicken here that of course I've already taken out of the package and all, and you can rinse it or not. I usually do. And then I tuck the wings underneath, just so it sits a little nicer. Just do that. And then, in my cookbook, I didn't include the stuffing, partly because I wanted it to all be on one page, and partly because I wanted it to, stay pretty simple and straightforward. Not that the stuffing is hard, but I did make it yesterday so I could show it to you. The stuffing has an amazing aroma. So good. And I want to tell you what's in it. And anybody that wants the recipe for the stuffing, no problem. It's easy for me to do. So it's got rice, and it has a little bit of oil, tablespoon. Typically and traditionally, you put some chicken parts in here, whether it's heart, giblets. I never do liver because I think liver has an overpowering taste, or for me. So there are no giblets in here, but that is part of what makes the stuffing the stuffing. There's Worcestershire sauce, and then there's a slightly different spice profile, which is just beautiful. It's so there's pepper. It typically is a little bit spicy, so there's a decent amount of black pepper. There's cinnamon, allspice, and cloves, and a pretty good hint of cardamom. So that's that. And what you would do is you would put the rice mixture in the chicken, and then after it's stuffed, some people used to sew. I guess back in the day they'd sew it shut, but my mom always did toothpicks. So I'm gonna get rid of that. And so you take just toothpicks and close it up like that. 3 or 4 toothpicks. And yeah, so that's that. So we're gonna do what we're gonna do. And the chicken is just kind of ready to go, except I'm gonna go ahead and tie the drumsticks together because they're gonna be in the oven a long time, and the chicken would it would just fall apart if you didn't tie them together. Actually, I read one thing about Tibet that said that the chicken is so tender that you can literally chew the bones. Never tried to do that, but that's what a couple of articles said. All right. So we got this. And I'll put it over here. And I do have the giblets right here. And I'm just gonna throw them in the pot because Tom likes them. So just gonna do that. Yeah. And I forgot, I was gonna start off by saying the first thing I wanted to say was thank you to my cameraman. So thank you. All right, I'm gonna wash my hands so I can do some other stuff. All right. You're not gonna believe how easy this dish is to make. However, it's got some wow. It's got some wow factor. Like later when you serve it, people probably will think you worked a long time, but you will not have. So, all right. So we're gonna take an onion. Actually, this is fine. Let me just rinse it. Maybe I'll get a new one. Sorry. Okay. First, I'm going to get one that only touched vegetables, not chicken. There we go. And so we're going to just take an onion, regular old yellow onion, and peel it. And then I like to just slice it. So no need to dice or spend a whole bunch of time. The strands are really nice. When I get to this part, I just go like this. And then the other one, got a little skin there. Okay. Into the pot. Okay, so we got 5 stalks of celery. And yeah, just kind of chunk it, more or less bite size. Into the pot. It's really fun, actually. Okay, I didn't think you needed to watch me chop carrots, so there we go. I do, again, I mean, even, you don't have to peel them, especially if they're organic. I often don't peel them, but and then here is a tomato. 1 medium tomato that I'm going to dice up. My mom didn't even always use tomato, actually. She sometimes would use just the tomato paste that's coming up soon. But I like the little specks of tomato in there. Okay, so we got that. And all right, so now we're gonna put the rice in. This is 2 cups of Uncle Ben's rice. Yet the thing too, if you don't want to use Uncle Ben's, because it's, I mean, it's you know, I looked it up, and the only difference between it and other rice is that it's parboiled. And I don't know if anybody knows what that means, but I knew that parboiled, you know, meant that it had been boiled in some way, but I didn't realize until I looked it up the other day that there's something about the boiling that drives some of the nutrients into the ectoderm or whatever. And supposedly it comes out having the nutritional value of brown rice, which I didn't look a lot into, but I mean, anybody can do the research if they want. But if you don't use Uncle Ben's, I would do basmati rice because it tends to hold its shape better. Or some people use jasmine, but basmati rice I think would work. Like I said, this is just the way that my whole family does it, and then my mom always did it. So, okay, so we got now the spices. Wow, pretty amazing. The spices that are in here. It's, well, probably you guys have the recipe, but anyway, it's the cinnamon, allspice, cloves, black pepper, a little salt, and that's it. I think I'm going to add the water first, though. So there's 5 cups of water. This is 3 of the 5. Let me get 2 more. You know, I think this is a left-handed measuring cup, which I didn't know I bought one, but it always throws me because the handle's on the opposite side. Okay, so I got the water. And Worcestershire sauce, which I once made my own Worcestershire sauce. That was really fun. I encourage you to do it. It's kind of cool. But this is the regular Lee and Perrin Worcestershire sauce. And I got the spices, which I wish you could smell. So good. So good. Okay. I have all my stuff out here. So we got some good organic tomato paste. So this is 6 ounces. I'm just gonna estimate, like that's 2. That's 2. That's 4 ounces. Last but not least, I think it's 2 tablespoons of oil. 1, 2. Okay. Yeah, I don't put the chicken in till later for a couple of reasons. One is because it's you know, it's just kind of nicer to do it, nestle it in at the end. But also, I like to taste this mix just to be sure it's right for like salt and stuff.
Ellie,
Yeah.
question, can you do this in a crock pot?
I don't see why not if your crock pot's big enough. Yeah. Because that's the whole idea here. It's slow cooking for a long time. That's a good question. I never thought I never thought of that, but I'm sure you could. Okay, so.
But you wouldn't get your crispy rice.
No, but
it wouldn't be. Yeah, you wouldn't, and it wouldn't be the traditional way to do it. But if you needed to do it that way, I wouldn't. It wouldn't be my preferred way, but I think it would work probably. Yeah.
If you've never done it before, you're starting a new tradition, so that's okay.
You're right. Right on, Marge. Okay, so this is like delicious and perfect, and it's got a little bit of a bite to it from the pepper and the Worcestershire and whatever. So good. All right, so last but not least, we got this guy. You know, like find him a little home in here. Do this. I'm gonna throw those giblets in there. And believe it or not, here you have it. This is to beat. You are gonna put it in the oven on 350 for 2 hours and 250 for 4 hours. So I'm gonna wash my hands so I can show you something. This is it. Thanks, Tom. Beautiful. Okay. the top. Well, it's gonna go in the oven, but what I want to show you is I made one last night, so you could see. We got a lot of chicken and rice around here. Okay. So I'm gonna put it here, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, why don't I do that? And there's my trusty timer. I'm gonna turn off the veggies here. Aren't you impressed how I timed that? Like I didn't really just work out that way. Okay. All right. And here we have, I'm gonna put this down the counter. This over here. Okay, guys. So this is what it actually looks like when it's done. It's beautiful. Now I did a different process this time because I didn't want to wake up at 3 in the morning, which I originally was going to do for you guys. But so the reason why this rice is this is a little darker than, it's probably made delicious, but it's a little darker. I just want to show you underneath. It's not, it's it looks more like the rice that you'll, just like the one that's in the picture in my book and stuff. And everything's like tender and gorgeous. And this one was stuffed, if you can see. And the rice in here has a different flavor profile, different texture because it just cooked from heat. There was no liquid in that stuffing. And so, yeah. Okay. So we have a family we're going to give this to today. And then we eat the one that we all just made together. Okay, I'm gonna put this over here. And put this, preheat the oven for this one. Okay, there we go. All right, so changing gears. I want to just clear up a little space.
Actually, before you start the next thing, Ellie, you have a couple questions in the chat, and I think people didn't want to interrupt.
I would love questions. Go ahead.
All right. So Lynn asked if you ever add chili peppers.
Do I ever add chili peppers? No.
And
I mean, I could say more about that. I mean, I could say more about that if you wanted to. I don't see why you couldn't. I just never have. You have another question?
Yeah. Suzanne asked if you can use chicken parts instead of a whole chicken.
Totally. Absolutely. I have done that. Some people do that. You totally can. I mean, I think people, personally, I think people take it too far if they decide they're going to do boneless, skinless chicken breast to make it more like healthy. I think they're kind of, that's where I draw the line personally about, trying to keep it. I just don't think it would taste as great.
Plus, if you have more people than one chicken, you can add parts around.
Oh, right. Yeah. Tom just reminded me, if you have more people than that you need to feed and one chicken's not going to be enough, you can totally add parts around it. Yeah. That's a great question, Suzanne, because that's totally doable. Yeah. Anything else that comes to mind about the to-eat?
Everything else was just compliments on how beautiful it looks, which it does.
Nice. That's great. Okay. So here we are. This dish this is the one part of the demonstration that, we'll see how this goes, because it's always a little difficult not difficult, but you know how it is. I'm sure you've poured soup into a blender before, but we'll see how it goes. So I'm going to add, this is what it looks like. Can you see it, Tom?
Yeah.
I'm going to add the coconut milk. And give it a little stir. And at this point, God, I so wish you guys were here to be able to eat some of this stuff. All right. I am told that I make a lot of noise in the kitchen, but this is natural noise, so it's not me. I mean, this is like just has to be this way. It's not like me banging around this morning, right, Tom? Okay, I know. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna try and do this. I'm gonna try and do this in like 2 batches if I can. We'll see. So we got. That has mostly liquid, so I'm gonna take some solids and put it in there without making too big of a mess, hopefully. All right. And I mean, I could be a commercial for Vitamix. I probably use mine every day, whether it's a smoothie or like whatever. But no matter what kind of blender you have or however you're doing this, just make sure you have like a top and a place for some where you can.
There was a question, can you use an immersion blender?
Oh, totally. Totally. You can use an immersion blender. I think that would be awesome. Yeah. And just, you know, because you're cooking these, the only purpose of what I was doing over there was to get the vegetables tender anyway. So you could totally do that. So I'm going to start off slow because I filled it up kind of a lot. So you have this, you know, just go like this. Okay, I'm just gonna put it into just any kind of container so I can do the rest of it. All right, one more time. Get all the good stuff. We'll do it again. Believe me, I learned this the hard way. I have had like the volcano eruption with this blender before. So. All right. Back into the pot with this. And we will get this back in here. Don't want to miss any of the good stuff.
There was a question, is coconut milk part?
Yes, it is. So it's a beautiful thing when you can't have dairy or you're having a meat meal. And then the way that I like to serve it is, so what did I do with my ladle? Here it is. Thanks. So a little soup. And I like, it's really delicious. You garnish it with a few pumpkin seeds. Maybe a little bit more, but anyway. And I'm gonna taste it. Oh my God, so good.
Oh, it's so good.
It's very wholesome too. Very, very wholesome. So, all right. Well, we have dinner made for tonight. That's cool. Okay. So I heard my oven go beep, beep. I'm gonna put this in since it's preheated. We have a house where everything sings to us. The washing machine has a long song. The dryer has a long song. The refrigerator sings if you leave it open too long. Is that all rhyme?
Yeah.
All right. So I'm really big on healthy snack stuff that I make mostly for myself because Tom thinks sometimes that they're unusual or whatever. I don't know how he feels about the chunky monkey balls, but that's what we're gonna do now. So this is how I roll. I make stuff up and then I write it on a little piece of paper and that's where it stays. So, okay, unless it's not in the book. So I had measured out some peanut butter. Oh, here it is. All right, I don't really think that this would work with like Skippy or Jif or the kind of peanut butters that have other things in them, like palm oil or whatever. It's a texture thing. It's a texture thing. So this is just pure, just peanut butter, just peanuts and salt, or just peanuts. So this is 1 cup of peanut butter. My very favorite. I'm actually obsessed with peanut butter these days. I don't know. I've always liked it, but I'm in this phase, and so this is one of my favorite things. Okay, we got that, and okay. So we've got I've got 1/3 cup of oats, not the quick cooking kind. I prefer the traditional, just old-fashioned oats. And then these are hemp seed hearts. And I don't know how many people know much about hemp seed hearts, but they're very nutritious. They're the seed from the hemp plant, and there's like 10 grams of protein in 3 tablespoons, which is 1 serving. It's got like all the essential amino acids. It's pretty great. I have a funny story that I'm not going to tell now, but about buying them yesterday at Safeway, where, person had never heard of them, but she told me they didn't have them. And I said, no, I bet you do. I just don't know where to find them. So then she got the manager and we found them. And I mean, it was a different store than I usually go to. I know where they are in the store that I always go to. Okay, so hemp hearts, and I put that in there partly for texture, but also for nutrition, just to get a little extra protein. I didn't do the dried banana, although that's a really nice addition because of the crunch. It's just for the crunch, really. I just didn't happen to get any. I've got shredded unsweetened coconut, and we'll do 2 tablespoons.
Just a question, how much hemp hearts?
Oh, 3 tablespoons. Yeah, 3 tablespoons. And then I do, well, I'm just gonna estimate this. No, I'll just estimate. I can't find my measuring spoon. So this will be 2 tablespoons, will be about 1/2 cup. So that's like 2 tablespoons of raw sunflower seeds. And I also just love cacao powder, and I also rediscovered clothespins. Pretty cool. I have to give Danielle credit for that. She uses clothespins like the baggy thingies. One of the things I love to do with cacao powder is I just make I can do a really quick protein shake with just this, a frozen banana, some type of plant-based protein powder, and milk. There's a really high protein milk that I like that an old trainer I used to use told me about. It's got 13 grams of protein in 1 cup. So pretty cool. I need 2 tablespoons of this cacao powder. 1, 2, and a little bit of honey. 1 tablespoon. This off. I don't even think you would need to do the honey if you really didn't want to, but it's only 1 tablespoon, so it's not that much. And then that, let me make sure I didn't miss anything. Oh yeah, the chocolate, which is really, really one of the best parts of this. So I just have some, I think this is like 86% chocolate because I like dark chocolate, but you can do whatever you want, you know, whatever your favorite might be. I think the dark, at least until the powers that be tell us that, oh, by the way, dark chocolate's not really that good for you. Okay, right now everybody thinks it is. So. I had chopped some of this ahead of time. Okay, throw that in.
Somebody asks date syrup in lieu of honey, question mark.
Totally, that would be awesome. Yeah, that would be super good. And then really it's just a matter of mixing it up. I will say that this recipe, it's best if you keep them in the freezer and then just eat them, eat them right out of the freezer. And they're just great for like a grab and go. I mean, if you brought them with you though on a hot Houston day and left it in the car while you went into the store, no, it would just be melted.
How much chocolate?
Oh, sorry. So 1 ounce of chocolate. I mean, obviously you could, wing it, but I happen to have it ever since I worked in a kitchen in Houston, a restaurant kitchen. I have loved owning a kitchen scale. I love this thing, and and it'll measure anything. It's great for baking and stuff. So yeah, I just 1 ounce. That's a long answer to your question. Okay. Which I tend to do. All right, so you see how this is just like really cooperating, turned into kind of like a dough. I am going to take a plate. Oh, my hands are kind of messy, so I'm going to get some of this really good organic unsweetened shredded coconut, and I do kind of want to roll them in coconut. And so I think I told myself, in the recipe it makes about 12. Obviously you can make them as big or as small as you want, but so what I like to do is I just kind of pretend. So I take it in half and then half, and then each one's going to be about 3 balls. So 1, 2. This is how I do meatballs, by the way, too. Like if I have a pound of meatballs and well, I'm sure maybe people do this too, but when you know how much you want to end up with, it's just a way to do it. So, okay, and make this one into 3, this one into 3. And so they're not exactly the same size, but they're close. So you just do this, roll it in coconut. Oh yeah, sorry, you want me to move the bowl?
That's right, that's right.
Okay. So, and there we have your first one. And you don't have to roll it in coconut. I love coconut though. So yeah, that's what they look like. I guess I don't really need to do all of them, but yeah, I tend to work kind of fast in the kitchen. So I don't know, I might have done this like really fast. But I'm happy to talk about anything cooking that anybody wants to. You want to taste it? No, he's not going to.
No, but I'm going to have some more of the soup when we're done.
Yeah. You have to be a peanut butter lover like me. I'm thinking you could probably do this with almond butter too. Haven't tried, but I feel like cashew butter is a little too creamy, and it might work. That might work too. I don't know. It would be fun to experiment.
Somebody asked, tell me about your book.
Oh, so my book was published in 2014. This picture was taken at our property in Hood River, our other property. We don't live there now, but this is the motto of my book and my kitchen. And it was originally inspired by, I was going to write a book for college kids. And I did a little research and I was like, well, that's kind of already out there. And so then I decided I wanted to write a cookbook that could be useful and good for people who cook all the time, who have a lot of knowledge, and also people who don't know anything or very little. So it's become a great thing for like wedding gifts, and not that people who get married don't know anything. As a matter of fact, they're getting married later and later. So that's different. But then there's a section in here called A Helping Hand, in which I tried to anticipate like any question anybody might have, possibly making a recipe in here, even like how to dice onions, how to boil an egg. Are you signaling me?
No, I just,
Oh yeah. So yeah, I guess Tom's proud husband. He reminded me that, yeah, my highest moment probably was when it was in Costco next to Jacques Pepin's book. I mean, and that was really pretty special. My kids sort of, I don't think, have forgiven me for not trying harder and getting out there and marketing it more. They're like, Mom, everybody loves your book so much. Like, why aren't you doing more? And I'm like, I don't know. So the recipes are meant to be, there are a few indulgent, desserts or whatever, but they're meant to be healthy versions of recipes. And they're all my own recipes, except for the tabit is in there. There are a few of my mom's, another traditional Iraqi dish called bamia, which I think that's just the word for okra, but there's her recipe for that is in there. There are a couple of Tom's grandmother's recipes in there. And yeah, besides, those are the traditional ones.
Ellie, I have a question.
Yeah.
The carrot soup, can that be frozen? Does it do well if you freeze it?
I think it would. I haven't ever frozen it, but I think it would. I don't see any reason why it wouldn't. Yeah. Yeah. What were you going to say, Tom?
That it's available. They can email
you can, if anybody wanted the book, I have copies here. The reason I'm laughing is that right now on Amazon, I have not cleared up this problem yet, but they have a price tag on it of like $1,200. So there's clearly a problem, but I'm working on it.
Ellie, I have to tell you, I have a lot of cookbooks, but yours is the only cookbook I've actually read cover to cover. And the thing I came away with it was there's such a joy that you have in cooking, and that the feeling I get when I walk in a fabric store is what you get when you walk in a grocery store. And it was like, it came through clearly.
Oh, thanks, Debbie. That is so cool. And it's very true. It's so true. Yeah, I mean, oh my God, I have to tell you this then. The latest thing I discovered when I was like, oh my God, this sounds so weird. But I came across, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to find it now. Here it is. This just seems so bizarre to me, but somebody has come up with heart of palm lasagna sheets, quote unquote lasagna. So I'm like, I had to buy it because I'm like, yeah. So I guess maybe that's how you feel when you find an amazing fabric. I don't know. We'll see.
Somebody asked, what knives do you use?
I use Cutco very enthusiastically. Benji, like many young people, sold Cutco when he was in like young college, I guess, or was he in high school? I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, the first thing that we actually bought for our kitchen when we first had our place here in Hood River was a full set of Cutco, which is over there. As a matter of fact, Benji visited. He was here for around Yom Kippur, that holiday, and he saw this knife. Well, I don't know where it is now, but there's one other knife in here. Oh, here it is. He saw this knife that's not Cutco. However, it's very meaningful to me because one of my best and oldest friends, Patty, gave it to me a couple of years ago, and it was here. And he's like, "What is that? What's that?" Yeah. Anyway, I call it my Patty knife. Yeah. So yeah. I don't know. Any other questions or anything?
Lots of fun.
Let's show you. We decided I was going to start with this actually. I want to show you the dusting of snow on Mount Adams. This is kind of the view that we've got today. They see the pear orchards?
Yeah.
So in front of us, behind me are the acres of pear orchards, not ours, but we look upon a neighbor's pear orchard. And in the distance, Mount Adams. It's just really, it was nice to wake up to today. So I wanted to share that with you.
Ellie,
Yeah.
Can't hear.
I can't hear you.
about how many calories, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Are those diet chocolate peanut butter coconut balls, like 3 calories each?
I thought you were serious. I was glancing down at the ingredient list to come up with a number for you. Oh boy. You know what? If you think about it, I'm just looking. Yeah, there might be some calories, but it's all good stuff. So that's how I roll. Don't buy like non-fat peanut butter, whatever. No, just joking. Okay. I don't know. I think that's a wrap. Unless anybody has anything else that they want to ask.
Great class, Ellie. Lots of fun.
Yeah, thank you so
Yeah,
much.
wonderful. Thank you, Ellie.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love doing it. You can probably tell that I have a lot of fun in the kitchen and making good stuff, sometimes weird stuff, but yeah.
I'm
Ellie.
happy to tell you that we gave one of your books to somebody and it made me feel good.
Nice. That makes me feel good. Yay. That's
And
super.
We'll come
just
into dinner
also,
when
if
we
you
come
can
by.
send out the ingredient list again.
Yeah. No
That'd be
problem.
helpful.
Okay, so I guess this is probably time for a little bit in business. So yes, this was recorded. Let's see, I'll probably post on the CBS Women Facebook page when it becomes, the CBS Women Facebook page, and then the recordings are actually posted to the Brish Shalom Facebook page. So if y'all are curious, probably start looking around. I'll post on the Facebook page when the recording's available. And then if you have any trouble, you can let me know. Also, I will put my email in the chat and you can send, I'm sure you can send Ellie an email, but to save her distress, I'm putting my email in the chat and you can drop me a note as well if you want the recipes. Because this didn't have a recording link, I don't have an easy way of knowing who was logged in and who wasn't in terms of sending out a mass email. So you'll have to ask. The other thing was to say that if you enjoyed this and you have a recipe that you want to share, also please contact me because I love the idea of this, during the coronavirus and we're all isolated in our home, like opening up your kitchen to us, Ellie, is like the best possible substitute for getting together in person. It's just so warm and that's why we want to.
I agree. It's a great
tradition
idea
of
for
this.
something to do, get together.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You.
All right, guys.
Yes,
it was
thank
a
you very
pleasure.
much.
Thank
Bye-bye,
you.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
It was awesome, Ellie.
Take care. Thanks.
Well, I'm not sure. Oh, that's almost me. I'm going to stop the recording.